Good morning, everyone. Craftman 44 here. Got a little bit of a start cutting some wood last night. I only had about an hour and a half before dark, but I cut a couple of short ranks back here, lined up for the splitter. Today I'm kind of jostling the log piles around, kind of get bark knocked off of them, get some of the pieces right over here, where it'll be a little more convenient to block up and stack right there for the wood splitter. I told you yesterday that whenever I set logs on the ground, I usually put pole wood down there, to kind of keep them up off the ground. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to transfer those logs over here and set them on those. Now all the log piles you see around here are also setting on pole wood. Some of them up to 6 or 8 inches in diameter. Well, like I tell my kids all the time, the hardest part of doing anything is getting started, and that's always the slowest part of the job. You just have everything all lined up and getting fired up. It sounds simple and easy, but there's always a problem. Now you're going to watch here a bunch of little bitty logs, little sharp pieces. That stuff over there, most of it was given to me by a tree trimmer. So it's some pretty little sharp things. Just it's a little difficult to mess with the skid loader. But yeah, we go ahead and work with it a little bit of time, get past it, and then get on to the bigger stuff. You'll see a little bit bigger stuff coming up very shortly. Now, I told y'all the other day we haul logs sometimes as long as 26 foot. I don't know how long this one is here. It's probably 22, 24 foot. But sometimes when we get a lot of material in here, it's kind of hard to handle those big old things. So I'm gonna have to cut that one in two to get in here to this little new log pile I'm building right now. This is one of those ones a little bit too long, to fit the space we got to stack them in right now. So I had to fire up the old 029. That's an 029, and you can see it's smoking pretty heavy. I'm still burning the last little bit of that fuel I put too much oil in. As a matter of fact, that one there got a whole tank full I've got to get run out. But at any rate, we just kind of plug along a little bit, and move them, one at a time, two at a time. Sometimes you get lucky and get 3 or 4 on there, but most of the time when you get a bunch of them on there, there's that smoke again. Sometimes when you get a bunch of them on there and you're bouncing across the rough terrain to get up to where you're stacking them, a couple of them or 1 or 2 of them might jostle to the left or to the right, and you spend more aggravating time trying to stop and pick them up and everything, so I just find it fast to run with individual ones or possibly 2 at the very most. Now one time here 3 years ago, we cut a chunk of oak that thing was 159 inches around, and that was in circumference at the butt cut. What you're looking at here is a few cuts that are still there. About 6 or 7 feet up from the butt cut, maybe 10 foot up from the butt cut. But that thing was, I think, 51 or 52 inches on average across the diameter of it. But man, that was a good one. We got, I forgot how many loads out of that tree. We got on that tandem gooseneck, I think we got at least 3 or 4 loads out of that particular tree. It was a good one. But yeah, here I got lucky coming across here with a couple of them, but I messed up right here. Doggone it. I went to dump them and they dropped crooked. And then about this time right here, I realized, doggone, I forgot to put them runners underneath. So I got to stop, I got to pick the doggone thing up. Look how crooked they go. And it kind of feel like a dummy when you do that. But I mean, yeah, that stuff happens. So I have to walk down this way and pick up a couple of skids or runners and stick up underneath there and set it all back down. You'll see how it plays out. But that is aggravating. But doggone, it is what it is. Take the good or the bad with the good. Doggone, I forgot to put my runner underneath there. Now I gotta take a few minutes and straighten up my pile. That's the price I pay for being impatient. Now, if you wonder where I'm coming from, way back over there where the Kubota's, the other pile. But see how I got to jostle this thing around and miss those trees? I don't want to cut down all those trees. So you got to come up there and you got to swing left and right, and kind of finagle those things around and in between there. It ain't no big deal, you can drag it a little bit off the one side and it goes crooked on your forks, and soon you swing around and square it up and keep on going. Then all of a sudden it does the same thing on the other side. But you can shift a pretty long chunk through there. Now here's a pretty good little piece right here. Had a cousin that was building a new shed and had a tree he wanted me to take down right in front of where he was going to build that shed. And that one there was, I think that one was 31 inches across right where I made the first cut. And then I took a big long 3.5 foot long piece below that, and it was a little bit bigger down at the bottom. It was 37, 38 inches. Now you're gonna notice it looks a little weird when I come in from the roadway over there. This here's a little short one coming right here, but sometimes I'm coming in with a really big long one, and I lift it way, way, way up in the air. I got to do that to clear that farther log pile over there, and you can't see it, but literally right here behind the tree. I'm almost backing into it right about there. I've got to dodge another tree, so I come in, got to shimmy, shake it back and forth with those long ones, raise it up really high in order to clear that. And it's just a pain in the rear end, but you know, it is what it is. You know, like I said, we do what we got to do and try to get the job done as quickly as we can. But all in all, here, this one here is really a pain right here. I guess you could tell by what's going on in the video. You know, we're gearing up for winter. Getting a little bit chilly, you know, at nighttime. So it's time to think about getting the woodshed full. Normally, by this time of year, got all 3 sections of it full. But nah, ain't there yet. Just been too busy doing some other things. You know, that trailer took up a lot of time, and I had a number of other projects. But at any rate, hope y'all enjoying this. That on the left is the remnants of that pile I was cutting in that other video a day or so ago. And this here's what we're stacking up right now. Now a lot of this stuff's been cut for a number of years, and some of the red oak is actually kind of rotten. But that doesn't matter. That goes in a separate pile to be burnt in our workshops. We don't waste good space in the shed with pithy wood. You know, I tell you, you're probably going to think it's a little weird, but sometimes, you know, you can be working in the wood pile or working in the log pile, and you spot a log, and you just piques your memory. You know, you just know exactly where that log comes from. This scaly bark here, this came from that same cousin where I got that big old oak from. This was back in the back of that same property, and we really had to put the backhoe and a tow rope on it and pull that sucker to get right in between the buildings. That was a little bit scary, a little bit iffy, you know, but we had power lines around and everything, but we got through unscathed. You know, we did it okay, did it adequately. This is what we've been doing today. It's just kind of fun, getting all the logs in the same location. Well, there's another pile on the other side of that, and then I got a pile down by the sawmill, and then there's a couple other small piles here and there. But for the most part, you know, most of them are pretty much right around here. Now there is some of this stuff, you know, you can see obviously the sapwood is kind of rotting on some of these, you know, because they have been cut for, you know, a pretty good while. But they're drying to a certain extent, not tremendously. There's still a lot of moisture in them until you actually bust them up, split them, and stack them, you know, in your woodshed for a couple of seasons. But it's still all good wood. You know, even though it's pithy, some of the outer, the edges, you know, the sapwood, there's still heat in it. I burned that, like I said, as junk wood in our sheds, just because, you know, it's no reason to throw it away. Now, sometimes some of it does get completely rotten down to nothing, but those are few and far between. And it's typically the kinds of wood that we know what it is, what's going to do that. Like black oak, in my estimation, it just rots for the fun of it. But then there's several other kinds of oak that you can just lay outside for years and years and years, and there won't be anything except for the sapwood rots. The rest of it, the heart is just as hard as can be. It's just amazing the differences in your oaks or in your densities of the oak, of the different oaks. You can see we had a little bit of fun this afternoon. Got the old skid loader out, got it humping a little bit, burned a little diesel fuel through that. Had the turbo whistling a couple of times. Had it wide open on some of these. A couple of these was right at its limit. It was all it could do to curl it, you know. So I have no idea what the weight was, but it's up there a little bit. And I had to jostle through the trees so many times. And the big long ones, I just went ahead and came down the road and had to jostle around and get in here, and still had to raise up high to clear the other log pile on the other side of this. But you know, we do what we got to do. You know, nobody got killed, nobody even got scratched today. Doggone, not a single, well, no blisters or anything, man. Just had too easy a day, I think. It looks like we beat this one to death. So you know what? This is Tractor Man 44, and I am out of here.